And we are back. Welcome to my preview and predictions for the opening matches of the last 16 in the Club World Cup. The group stages are over, and as you can see on your screen right now, half of the teams have been eliminated, and this week we're going to lose another half in the last 16. But the way we're going to do this series over the course of this week is we're still going to do it daily. So we're going to do 2 predictions today for tomorrow's fixtures, then tomorrow morning 2 more for Sunday, and so on for the remainder of the last 16 rounds. 2 matches a day. So before we get into it, if you haven't done so already, please do consider dropping a like on this video. If you enjoy all of my predictions series, share it with a friend to get as many people involved in this Club World Cup as possible. Subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on so you don't miss out on any of the other preview and predictions we've got for the remainder of this Club World Cup. And if you want to support the channel even more as we look ahead to the brand new season starting next month, you can do so by clicking the join button at the bottom of your screen to become a member of the channel to gain exclusive access to certain perks for the channel. As for today though, these are the 2 matches that will be taking place tomorrow to kick off the round of 16 in the Club World Cup. And as you can see at the top of your screen, we did actually recover ourselves in terms of our predictions for the last couple of days in the group stages, meaning we are on 29 out of 48 for this Club World Cup so far, and 2 correct scores only. So pretty good. It would have been nice to get some more correct scores, but the predictions are actually going pretty well for a change on this channel, it has to be said. But without any further ado, let's get straight into it. The opening game of the last 16 of the Club World Cup is an absolute epic. It is an all-Brazilian tie as Palmeiras take on Botafogo. The Group A winners, Palmeiras, taking on the Group B runners-up in Botafogo. However, don't let that distract you from the fact that actually Botafogo come into this having accumulated more points than Palmeiras did in the group stages. 5 points was enough for Palmeiras to win Group A. 6 points was only enough for second place in Group B for Botafogo. And not only that, let's not forget that Botafogo are the current South American champions, and they did defeat the current European champions in PSG to get themselves into this position. The thing you'd have to say about Palmeiras, though, is that they are currently undefeated in this Club World Cup, drawing 2 and winning 1. Whereas, of course, Botafogo did lose to Atletico Madrid in their final group stage match. However, it should be noted that Botafogo knew going into that match they had to lose by 3 or more to actually be knocked out by Atletico Madrid. So they did their jobs to the best of their ability. They didn't need to attack in that match. They're obviously going to need to do so in this one to get the result that they need. And, of course, it's also worth noting that Palmeiras did, of course, struggle against Porto and at the score very late on to salvage a point against Inter Miami. So, actually, so far in this tournament, it is Botafogo that have played against the more difficult sides and have come away with more points. So, potentially, that could lead you to suggest that Botafogo are the slight favourites coming in to this one. However, the beauty of having 2 Brazilian sides coming up against each other means we can actually use their domestic form to help inform us on how this game is going to go. And as things stand, in the Brazilian Serie A, it is Palmeiras that currently sit in 4th place in the table on 22 points, whereas Botafogo are only in 8th place, scoring just 18 points so far, meaning they are 4 points behind Palmeiras in the Brazilian Serie A. And these 2 sides have already met in the Brazilian Serie A already this season. It was actually on the opening day of the season, and on that occasion, it was a 0-0 draw. Although if you actually look at the stats, it was a fairly open game, plenty of chances for both teams. It just came to the fact that neither of them ended up scoring. In terms of the all-important team news then, there is some slight drama coming into it. In terms of Palmeiras, it looks like they could be without Sequeira, who went off early in their game against Inter Miami. For Botafogo, an absolute calamitous decision from Gregor with literally seconds left on the clock. He decided to massively time waste and kick the ball away against Atletico Madrid, meaning that he got booked with literally, like I say, seconds to go. That was his second yellow card of the tournament, and he is going to miss this game against Palmeiras through suspension. Absolutely ridiculous decision, considering Atletico Madrid had to score 2 more goals in the remaining minute that was left when he decided to make that time-wasting decision. To be honest, I really don't think there is too much to split between these 2 sides. They are very well balanced. They've both done well in this Club World Cup so far. They're obviously not much to split between them in terms of their position in Brazil at the moment, and of course they have drawn already early on this season. What I do think we'll see this time, though, is goals. I think both of these sides are more than capable of scoring goals. But to be fair, both sides have proved their defensive qualities as well. I can't see this being a very high-scoring game. For me, this is one of those classics where it's either going to be 0-0, extra time and penalties, 1-0 either way, or what I'm actually going to go for, which is the third option, which is a 1-1 draw. But I am actually going to go in favour of Palmeiras as the side to progress to the next round. Now, the way we do this on this channel, if you are new around here, is when it is straight knockout, even if I predict a draw for the match, I still predict an actual winner, and that is the result that we take forward. So if Palmeiras win this in 90 minutes, it will count as a correct prediction for me. But I'm going for 1-1 in 90 minutes, and I'm going to go for Palmeiras to take it beyond. Obviously, Botafogo have that experience in winning the South American Championship last year. They do have that knockout experience that Palmeiras might be lacking, so we'll see. Really not a lot split between them, but I'm going for Palmeiras. As for the second game in the group, I think this is just as difficult to call. We've got two European sides going head-to-head in Benfica of Portugal and Chelsea of England. Now, obviously, Benfica have had an incredible group stages so far, winning their group and obviously beating Bayern Munich on the final group stage match to set up the game against Chelsea here. And I think they probably would have been hoping that they weren't coming up against a side as good as Chelsea as their reward for actually beating Bayern Munich to win the group. But unfortunately for them, Chelsea were relatively poor in their group stages, losing to Flamengo. I mean, let's be honest, they were absolutely outclassed by Flamengo in the game against them, and they ended up winning the group with Chelsea coming in second. Although, to be fair, they did perform very well in that final group stage match against Esperance, winning 3-0. What is really interesting about this game is that even though we've got two very well-established European sides that have both played across all the multiple different European competitions, Champions League, Europa League, obviously Benfica not in the Conference League, Chelsea the current Conference League champions, but considering both of these sides are normally in Europe every single season, these two sides actually haven't met in a competitive capacity since the 2013 Europa League final. On that occasion, it was Chelsea that came out on top, a stoppage time winner from Branislav Ivanovic, securing the Europa League title for Chelsea. And at that point in time, they were actually the only side ever to hold the Europa League and the Champions League at the same time, because there was that 1 week gap from the Europa League final to the Champions League final where Chelsea were actually the holders of both. It's a very strange fact that I've always loved, and even though I can't stand Chelsea, I always think that's a bit fascinating. They were literally the only champions of Europe for one single week. And that was the last time they played Benfica. So yeah, you can't really look at that as a sort of judgment as to where this is going to go. You can only really look at how they've performed over the course of the last season, where obviously Chelsea did well in the Premier League, won the Europa Conference League. Benfica performed relatively well in Europe, but couldn't really progress and obviously just came up short in the Portuguese title race. In terms of this Club World Cup, though, you would certainly say that Benfica have been the side that are way more up for it. Strong performances, like I say, beating Bayern Munich, drawing against their South American opponents, where Chelsea, of course, lost to their South American opponents. So I think there are a lot of things going in terms of Benfica for this game. Obviously, everyone is going to have Chelsea as the favourites because on paper, Chelsea probably do have the slightly stronger team. But I look at how they've performed in this tournament so far, and I think Benfica are going to be way more up for this than Chelsea are. Chelsea don't seem particularly fussed about this tournament. Yes, some of the players are coming out saying they'd like to be world champions. But for me, I look at the attitude of those Benfica players, and they seem much more determined to get a result in this match. In terms of the team news, Chelsea are going to still be without Nicholas Jackson following his straight red card in that loss to Flamengo. For Benfica, their big concern is Renato Sanchez. He picked up an injury in their match against Bayern, and it looks like he is a doubt, but the reports I'm saying are suggesting he is going to be fit and available for this match. Final thing that I will mention before this match, and I've said it a few times already in this preview. Benfica did beat Bayern in that final group stage match, but it has to be noted that Benfica were playing against a very weakened Bayern Munich side. None of the likes of Kane, Elise, Kimmich started the match. It was very much a reserve Bayern Munich team that got progressively better as the game went on. But you've still got to give credit to Benfica. They still took that lead, and when Bayern's superior players came on, they still held them to that 1-0 victory. Honestly, again, I really don't think there's much to split between these two sides. I think, again, I've just said it already, undoubtedly Chelsea will be considered the favourites for this one. But I'll go back to what I've said already. From what I've seen, Benfica want this more. I think they've got enough quality in their side to cause Chelsea problems. I think they've got enough quality in their side to actually get the result against Chelsea here. So I might be going against the grain, but I'm going for a 2-1 victory to Benfica in this match. Obviously, if Chelsea play to the best of their ability, all their star players turn up, they should, in theory, be too much for the Benfica. But I'm yet to see it from them in this tournament. I think Benfica have played fantastic. I think they deserve to make it to the quarterfinals, so I am going for them. A 2-1 victory to Benfica in this one. Agree or disagree? Let me know down in the comment section below. I think it's going to be a fascinating opening day in this last 16. I genuinely believe that all four of these sides have basically the same amount of chance of progressing. I think there is very little to split between Palmeiras and Botafogo. I think there is very little to split between Benfica and Chelsea. So we'll see how it goes. As always, thank you very much for watching. I'll be back tomorrow morning with the next two matches in the last 16 of the Club World Cup. I'll see you there.